Okay, so to completely get what Jesus is trying to tell us, we got to bear in mind that for our gospel reading today, we heard parts 2 and 3 of a 3-part connected idea. Part 1 is what we heard at Mass last week, Sunday. All right? So last week, Sunday, we heard part 1, be brave, acknowledge Christ before others, don't let your faith be private, make it public. That was part 1. Part 2 was the first half of our gospel reading. Whoever loves their father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, so take up your cross. And then part 3 is the second half of our reading today. Whoever treats the little ones well will surely not lose their reward. All right? So 3 parts spread out over 2 Sundays, and taken as a whole, they're what's called the Mission Discourse of Matthew. That's the official name, the Mission Discourse. And so that means it's Matthew's take on the way Jesus prepared his disciples for their mission. And it came down to 3 pieces of advice. Be brave and be true, be unafraid to belong to Christ. Second piece of advice, be ready for tension and division, even among your own families. And number 3, our success is measured by how well we treat the little guy, the powerless and the helpless. So that is basically what Jesus really wanted his disciples to understand before they began their mission. And that's kind of funny, because nowhere in this part of the gospel reading does Jesus actually say what the mission is. We were in chapter 10 of Matthew, for the record. In chapter 10, he says nothing about what they're specifically supposed to do. He doesn't say it in chapter 11, and in chapter 12, we're in a totally different part of the story altogether. Oh, I'm sorry, but I think that's kind of funny. How many of us would be that 13th disciple just sitting there, and after Jesus gives us this big old pep talk, and all the 12 disciples go, "Amen"? How many of us would raise our hand sheepishly? Well, Jesus, that sounds great, but what are we supposed to be doing again? I may have been daydreaming. I can picture a lot of us doing that. And the funny thing is, I have no idea how Jesus would respond to that. Because in the Bible, people ask Jesus, "What should I do?" all the time. And he never gives the same answer twice. And that's confusing, but I think the diversity of his answer is the answer in disguise. What exactly are his disciples supposed to be doing? It's a little bit different for each and every one of us, isn't it? All right, some of us are meant to work and labor and put food on the table. Others of us are meant to pray in a monastery. Others of us are called to priesthood. Others of us are called to parenthood. Some of us are called to go out and fight. Others of us are called to go out and prevent people from fighting. Jesus knew that life would take us all on very different paths. But no matter what, his advice remains true. Be brave and be true. Be ready for hardship because it's a-coming. Even your own loved ones may try holding you back from what you know is right. And 3, be good to the little ones. Be good to the weak, because your respect for them is a reflection of your respect for God. I think that's pretty remarkable of Jesus. He gave solid advice that applies to every righteous cause. And think about it. If you are a teacher, be brave and be unafraid to proclaim the truth. But be ready, Because you're going to get some people who complain at you when they don't like that lesson plan you taught their children last week. And be good to the little ones. Be good to the students who give you some trouble and give you more gray hairs than you normally would have. I can't help the snickering because we have at least a couple of teachers here from Cabrini, and I know which students they're thinking of. So I couldn't keep that inside. Anyway, if you're thinking about priesthood, and mark my words, there are men in this room besides me who have the mark of priesthood about them. If you are thinking about priesthood, be brave. There is work to be done, take my word on that. But be unafraid and be ready because your own parents may try talking you out of it. You will lose friends before the end, and people will call you names that you never thought you'd hear in public, let alone directed at you. And be good to the little ones. Be good to the children, the sick, and that guy in the fourth pew who puts a nickel in the collection plate every Sunday. I could do this all day. If you are a soldier, be brave. You represent the might of your nation. But be ready, because your life may be on the line any day. And be good to the little ones. Be merciful to the civilians. Fight fairly, even when your enemies do not. One more, then we'll move on with Mass. If you are a parent, be brave. You matter more to the faith of your child than Father Nathan or I ever could hope to be. I really do believe that. We are support staff. We can only build up what already exists in the home. And be ready for hard decisions, because sometimes the very best thing you can do for your child is to rock the boat and make a couple of enemies along the way. And be good to the little ones, because every saint who ever lived spent a little bit of time in the crib, or in an object very similar to a crib. Every child has the flame of sainthood within them, and we can ill afford to let those flames die out. So once again, that's what we've got today, the mission discourse of Matthew. 3 pieces of advice that really ought to apply to anything we do in life. Be brave, be unafraid to belong to Christ, be ready for hardship no matter where it comes from, and be good to those people who are weaker than you. Your respect for them reflects your respect for God.